Hey there, welcome along to this month's Song of the Month. We're doing Born in the USA, and remember, it's going to go through 5 different levels of difficulty. So no matter what stage you're at in your guitar journey, there's going to be something here for everybody. So you'll have things to support you and also things to challenge you, but not challenge you too much that you'll quit and won't want to do it, right? So what I'm going to say first is, I'm going to basically play the different things that we'll be doing. Okay, so I'll start with the easiest. It'll be cap 1, the 2nd fret, and it'll be going, and it's 2 chords the whole way through, by the way, so that's why I thought this was a good one. So it'll go, born down in a dead man's town, in the USA, I was born in the US. You get the idea? Right, that's the first one. The second level will be, in the USA, I was born in the USA. So we have your power chords. So that'll be another option for those of you who have a good few open chords already. Another option is barre chords. Born in the USA. Right, so now those are a few things. And also we have our intro. And last thing with the rhythm, you have straight rhythm, you go like that. But also you can do okay, so as you can see, there's a whole ton of stuff here you can do. I do have a bit of a cold today as I'm doing this, so I may be coughing, I may have to pause, and there'll be edits. But if you're watching this and you're at the earlier stage of your guitar journey, what we call the acoustic apprentice stage, one thing I'd say to keep in mind that A and D are the only 2 chords we'll use. So there's only 2 chords, and we can keep the rhythm if you're doing all downs. That is good enough, right? That's brilliant. If that's a challenge for you, that's great work to get that steady. Then I'd also say the other things I did there, not to be intimidated by them. It's sometimes easy to look at things and go, oh my God, I can't do that. And yeah, that might be your fact for now, that's really tricky. But what I'd also suggest is that I used to keep, like when I was learning first, I used to keep a journal and a notepad, and I used to write cool things I'd see. I'd write down and go, that's pretty cool. So if it was this picking thing, I'd write, that's a cool thing. I would love to learn that soon, you know? So it's just, you're keeping your eye on what's to come. And since I did mention the 5 levels here of going through it, the 5 levels of our guitar journey, of course, are the acoustic apprentice, we've open chord champ, we have song scientist, skill specialist, and finally guitar whiz, okay? So those are your 5 stages. Now, what I generally recommend is, that's for the acoustic apprentice stage, okay? And this lesson, it's going to be long because I'm going to go in depth on a ton of things, but you don't need to watch the whole lot if you don't want to. That's the main thing I'll say. Like, it'll be chaptered, so get the bits you need, get to work. That's what I'd say. If you want to watch the rest out of interest and things like that, that's brilliant too. But I understand you're busy. So that's why it's chaptered up this way. Now, so that's the acoustic apprentice. Now, let's just say you're at the later stages of guitar playing. You've been playing a while. I would still suggest you learn the easier parts. The reason that matters is because, one, if for any reason you need to stop playing what you're playing, like barre chords, let's face it, they're tough at times. If your hand starts to get tired, well, that's when there is no shame in going back to open chords at all. And there's no shame in open chords at all in the first place. Like Bruce Springsteen plays a ton with open chords. So that's the thing to remember, okay? But it's that, like, I've played songs before and I've played barre chords and my hand starts to cramp after a while, especially if it's a gig of like 2 hours and I've played a ton of barre chords. I go back to open chords, give the hand a break, you know? Plus you can get bored. If you're bored of playing other bits of a song, it's nice to go into a song have, let's say, open chords. Then, and then finally. So it's nice to be able to flip between the different versions. Now the next thing is, that's the main general outline. And once you're at the earlier stages of guitar, when you've that learnt, it's okay to give other things a go as well. Like, there's growth to be found in stretching yourself to try new things. So listen, even if you look at this power chord that I'm doing with the 2 fingers, and you make an absolute mess of it, it's okay. Like, you know, you've done the work you're meant to do, and you're having a bit of fun. I'd frame it as fun, okay? It removes the expectations, and it's just a bit of an experiment. Now, the very first thing we're going to begin with is the capo on the 2nd fret, right? And the chords go the whole way through. And I'm actually going to share my screen here a sec. There we go. Okay, so on the screen, you'll see here that we get our intro. That's the bit I played at the start, what the keyboard does. Now, the intro, you've A and you've D. You've A, you've D. Have a look through it. It's A and D the whole way through. Who would have thought that such like a mega hit would just be the chords A and D? So now that we got our A and D established, just a quick recap, of course, with A, you missed the top string. With D, you missed the top 2 strings. If the D chord is a bit of a struggle for you still, a little hack you can do, and this also sounds cool, is lift off your middle finger and do that. That's called a D sus2. It's just nice, like a nice little, you see there that the bottom finger is removed. On, off. Okay, I'm gonna push that back in. Now, so that's your A and your D. And I know looking at Ultimate Guitar, sometimes it can be hard to know, what's the word? It can be hard to know how much of each chord to play. So that's why I'm going to write it out here for you as well, using our magic whiteboard. So the tempo of the song goes at 122 BPM. That's beats per minute. Basically, you could set a metronome. That's not 122. I don't know if it's even close, but I would just tell you where you're strumming your downs. Right, and we get to in a minute, like if you're looking at that going, that is fast, right? So we'll sort that out. Sweet A. Okay, oops, sorry, I'll straighten up that line. Right, so those are our chords. And we know from before that you'd strum down once for each chord that's written. So there'll be down strum on that A, down, down, down. So we have 4 beats in each bar, which means you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll keep you in time. So at a beginning level for this, you get your A chord and you would basically just strum your downs. So you could be counting, and by the way, make sure you keep your guitar this way. I'm just holding it this way just to keep it in the frame. So you'd go 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Then change. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 tips. The first tip is that I am strumming the first chord of each 4 a little bit harder. It sends a message to my brain and my ears that that's the first beginning of a new bar. So have a listen with the A's. Without it, it's easy to get that kind of lost, where we know. Right, so that's the first thing. The second thing is, since I've written here, and since more than likely you'll be reading it as you play it, is the way my eyes trace this, and this is really important, is I look here, but I keep looking at each dot as I play. So that's what my eyes are doing. Now when I get to the end of the bar, We are slightly conditioned from a young age when we read sentences that we'll read at the end and then we'll draw our eyes to the start of the new line when we're about to open our mouth to read it. That works for reading. For guitar, we've got to look in advance. So when you're at the end of a line, my eyes begin to cast down to here. So I'm on A, 2, 3, 4. I'm dotting like that, dotting like that. Then here, I look at A, and as I think 2, 3, I'm looking here to get ready for D. Okay, so that's a little Jedi mind trick, okay, for your chord changes. And of course, when I'm on the D then at the end, I'm going back to the A, right? So that's a little tip. So that's our capo on the 2nd fret, our strums, and doing downs. Now, that is the main thing to do for the song in general. Okay, I'll say in general because I'm about to add something in a second. I'm going to just say that is our full strum. So just give me 1 sec now. So I have my rough work notes made here. Okay, so that's what you'd be doing. And your strums would be going as follows. You'd be doing like this. You'd be doing 4 downs. That's the most basic level of strum. You could also do this one. And that's your arrows going down, 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 up, down. It's a driving rock rhythm. So you have this drum pattern or this drum pattern. Now the really cool thing about this is as follows. If, let's say we work on this together, well, if one of you do one strum pattern where you're doing all downs and another one of you do the one where you're going down, 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 up, down, both of them interlink together. They work together. So 2 guitars could be playing on the same recording or playing side by side, and it's going to work because if we look here, you see those 3 are in common. Then this one is also shared. It's just that this second rhythm fits in a quick up where the other one doesn't, right? So that's a little tip with the rhythms. Now, doing the 4 downs works for each of the chords here. If you choose to do this one, you're basically playing that rhythm once for each bar. So you'd go down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, down. You get the idea, right? So that's what you do. So it'd be like you do that strum pattern 4 times on an A, and then you're doing it 4 times on a D. Okay? And of course, you know yourselves, if you have any questions you want to ask for clarification, post a comment in the community. I'll have a questions thread there if we need it, okay? Now, the next thing. So that's going to be the main thing you're going to do. But as we know with songs, we don't always play them all the time. We basically sometimes do different things. So, and I'll explain that in a second. So as an example, I'm going to say that for your, I'll lay this out now actually. Or hold on, no, apologies. Sorry, I'm changing my mind here now. Okay, so for level 1, for an acoustic apprentice, open chord champ, level 2, this would be a great start. All right, so you have your 2 open chords, capo 2nd fret. If you don't have a capo yet, you can still play this. I would suggest you get a capo fairly soon, so you can play along with the song, which is what we're aiming to do. That's our goal. But practicing without the song, it still works. Okay, so don't wait until you have a capo. Get to work on it. But a capo will definitely help it sound more like the song. Okay, so let me see. Next part now. So that is the main beginning stages for it. And the next question with it will be the tempo. Of course, our goal is 122 BPM. That's the tempo it actually goes. But remember, like, we don't want to wait until everything's perfect. So what we could do is we could look and find a comfy tempo for yourself. And that can be anything. Like if I said start at 60, I hope there's no mathematicians here. You're going to look at this graph and go, This dude's spacings are way off. Okay, but you get the idea. You could start with like 60 BPM and start with that. Okay, that'll be nice, slower tempo to go. And that's where your time with the metronome matters hugely, right? So you'd set the metronome going at 60 BPM and you play on the metronome. This matters the most because let's just say a couple of you complete the song. When you can play along with the metronome or with the drum track, we'll also have the drum track option here. I'm just saying metronome to begin. When you can play along with that, it means that if, for example, if you were to play it at 80 BPM and another member student plays it at 80 BPM, we can take the audio tracks, the video tracks, and work them together because you're both playing at the exact same speed. But if everybody plays at their own speed, we won't be able to, like, the idea as well is that, like, when we're comfy about this is to record ourselves individually and put it together. That's another end goal of it. So that's why the metronome matters so much, okay? And I'll put it this way. It'd be much better for you to play it steady using the easier chords than it would be for you to play it out of time with more advanced chords. Okay, hope that makes sense. But of course, have fun with more advanced chords too. Right, so the next part is as follows. That's the tempo. So we have two options for this. Option one, we can use our metronome. Okay, and if you're unsure about where to find the metronome or you need to be just reminded, just ask. I'll be happy to point you. It's in Guitar Tuna. Number 2 is rock, drum, beat. If you enter that into YouTube, rock, drum, beat, and I'll do one myself in a moment, and you enter the BPM, it's going to pull up a drum track and it's going to pull up a drummer playing at that speed that you're needing. The drum track, a lot of players prefer it a lot more because it contains way more info. If it's just a metronome, that's all you get. But with the drum track, you're going to get everything. You're going to get doom, doom, ch, doom, 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 ch. And it's much easier and you kind of feel like you're playing with something. Right? So that's something else to watch. Now, the next thing is as follows. We got our tempo. So now you got the beginning phases of the chords. And of course, we get them clear. So we get to learn the shapes. And then you have your simple strum to begin. And you set your tempo. So you have a few moving parts already. And remember that, so you have a few moving parts already. And remember again that it would be better to keep the simple strum in time with the drum beat than it would be to try the more complicated strum and be out of time. Right? So that's something small to watch. Now that we got that, the next step, oh, I don't know what happened that further. Now that we got that, the next thing we'll move into is how to phrase the chords. So when you got this, you've also got to keep in mind that we have our focus and our concentration. Okay, that's to do around, it might only be 2 chords, but 2 chord songs are sometimes a tricky one to play because it's easy for us to switch off. We're like, oh, it's A and D, it's fine. But it's got to be kept in time, so you've got to continually focus. The number one sign that you'll have dipped in focus or lost concentration will be you'll separate with the drums, separate with the metronome. So for that reason, I'm going to suggest the following. I'm going to suggest that you would, the A's and the D's, let's just write them this way, shorthand. Okay, so we've A, then we've D, 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 D. Okay, so let's just say we've them written shorthand that way. Well, what the best thing you can begin to do is aim to play it once, steady. When you've hit steady, your next goal will be to play it twice. Your next goal to play it 4 times. Right? And then you get the picture, 8, and you keep going on. Now, how long does this need to be? Roughly 4 minutes we're going to need to play. That's our end goal. And I just want to say as well that there's no expectation on you if you're not long at guitar, or if playing a whole song seems daunting, for you to nail this and get 4 minutes of steady. We're not even aiming for perfection here. We're aiming to like keep it generally with the beat for most of the song. So as I was sharing, for those of you that like to do this, I think it'd be a great group project to do, that we'd record ourselves playing, and it doesn't have to be this month. We can work on it for a couple of weeks, and then when we all feel ready, get the videos together. So if you even had some of the song, we can still include your video. I think it'd be really cool, because since we're all, like, for example, there's students from New Zealand, Australia, Ireland, Prague, you know, the students from everywhere from around the world, the UK. So that would be the thing. It'd just be nice to create a group sort of project. Now, so that's our focus and concentration, and we're cycling through those. So now that we got that, the next thing it's 4:38. That's the whole length of the song, but we won't need all that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just go through the intro picking part. And for this, I am going to go to our screen. Okay. And this is the keyboard part. So, basically, you're on the 7th fret on the top string. And for those of you starting out guitar, you might like to give this a bit of a go. Some players like it's a bit of fun. So you pick very gently, pick the top string. Then you drop down to this 7, 2nd string from the bottom. Now, as you can see, that's a bit of a jump to go. So what I'd recommend is use your ring finger on the 7 here. That's the 2nd string from the bottom, this one. Put your ring finger there. Use your middle finger for here on that 7. So that's what I got. So I got that one there and that one there. You see the capo still on. So I'm going. Spend a bit of time practicing that jump, and remember, one note will end as the other begins. Right? So that's what you got. Then you're done with the top string. So get your middle away from there. Then get your index on the 5th fret of the B string. 2nd string from the bottom. Then put your ring finger back on the 7. So the first 4 notes sound as follows. We get do that one more time. Dun, dun. And if you want to repeat with me, it'd go. Right, I'll do it one more time like this. And I'm picking it all downs. Then the last 3 notes, you drop a string onto the 4th fret with your index. Then you can get your middle finger on the 5 above. I'm using middle finger, not index. And I'll practice that hop. And remember, you get off the string as you get on the next one. We don't want them ringing out, because it doesn't sound like that. And the last note is the 7 that you had earlier. And a tip with tab, this is guitar tab. And if you're new to tab and you're looking at this going, what in the name of God is this thing? It's okay. Stay away from it for a while, okay? The 7, that 7 and that 7's in it. Okay. So now, we got that. And the next thing I'll say is, notice the way that this is the exact same as below. And you see the A and the D. What that means is that as a guitar would strum A, another guitar could play this. Then when the other guitar changes to D, the other guitar could play this. You'll have noted, and by the way, note it's done twice. Okay, so as well as working on all these notes, you're going to have to get quick at going from the 7 back to that original 7. And that top line, so I'll play it twice. It'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3, 4. 3, 4. Now I'm on the second line. 3, 4. So, one thing to watch is that 0 there, it's incorrect. You've got to play the 0 on the D string. Okay, so that 0 there on the second line will be on this string. And that's your keyboard intro. So wherever that's needed, that's what would be played there. And again, I'll include this. This is all up on the internet itself, but just the tuition I'm sharing with you here. Then, that's your keyboard intro, and the capo's on the 2nd fret still. I would play, I'll just share, I would play no matter what level you're playing this at, I'd keep the capo on the 2nd fret. It's just a nice one for this one. Now, so we got that. The next thing then is doing more advanced chords. So if you're at this level, I won't go too in depth on how to form all these chords. I'm going to presume that you have them. So you have a power chord here on the 7th fret of the E string, index on the 7, ring finger on the 9, and you hold both of them. That's all you're doing. Okay, you can hear it gives it the drive, right? So that'll be the first thing, your power chord. And the big thing you've got to watch with playing this is that you don't, with this hand, you don't go down too much. The big thing you need to watch here is that you don't go down too much. It's got to be tight. Right, so now that is a B5 power chord. Wherever you see A written in this, you'd play B5. Right, so we won't get into the nitty gritty of why you're playing B5 and the rest are doing A. They both work together. It's because when a person has a capo on the 2nd fret and they play A, it's really a B. So we got a B5. Then you drop down a string and you play this one. And again, you're only doing those two strings, the 2nd string from the top and the 3rd string from the top. Now, that's your... Hey Chris, how's it going, man? Just saw an old friend there join. Good to see you. Okay, and everybody, you're welcome along too. You're dropping in on a video recording here of a lesson. So, do not wave. There we go. Okay, so now that we got that, the next thing is as follows. Those will be your 2 chords with power chords. So the whole song. You see here, I'm doing following the same blueprint. Now, here's the difference with this shape, okay? I'm going to share this. And by the way, like I said, I understand that this goes long. This type of lesson goes long because I'm including all guitar levels in it. So drop in and out as you want. It's going to be here for you whenever you need it, whenever you want to make it more advanced. So intro picking is done with tab. The next thing is power chords. Okay, you've B5 and you have E5. Those are the names of the 2 chords we just did. B5 was on the 7th fret of the E string. Okay, what I mean by 7th fret of the E string is that. Okay, that's what I played. 7th fret of the E string, and I make my power chord shape. Then if we look here at E5, that's on 7th fret of the A string. Same thing. Okay, so we're here and we're here. Now, basically, I won't write all this out. All you gotta watch is you're gonna follow the same format. That's your B5, power chord people, and that's your E5. Okay, and if you play like both, and by the way, thinking back to the start of the lesson, that's what I did. Like I did this, and here to be your B5. You hear there's similarities there. Okay, so the next thing is the power chord rhythm is slightly different. You can do this. You can go 4 downs, or you can do this. Okay. And with this you'd count, and I'll count it 1 sec. Okay. So the count on this strum, I haven't played this one yet. It goes 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2. So you'd practice that count first. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2. You'll notice these are larger arrows. Use your words, Dave. And they're phrases to say that you play those a little bit harder. So this is how it sounds before I share it on screen. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2. Okay. Now the next thing is, because of that, like I could do like this. You get the idea. It's because on power chords we can't really go. Don't really suit it. So we just got to watch out that we're keeping that. Cool. Right, so the next thing then is we're looking at, we got our intro. That's your power chords. And finally then, bar chords will be the last level of chords. You've B and you've E. And you notice the bar chord names are the same as the power chord names, just without 5. And that's because when you 5 generally means that you're on 5 generally means that it is a power chord. So because of that, this one you're going to be playing a bar chord here and a bar chord here. The advantage with the bar chords is that, and I'll play them in a sec, is that you can do this rhythm or you can do this one. Sorry, you can do this one. So you can do both. Now, those bar chords, 7th fret on E, and it's our E major shape, okay? And then you drop down and you play your E major bar chord, which is played with the A major shape. Okay, so this is assuming you are semi-fluent in bar chords. Okay, and you know anyways, you have the bar chord foundations course inside our membership to learn them anyways if you need them. Okay, so we got that. So I'll be going. If you wanted to cheat, you could do D. If you wanted a break, and go back to the B. And you see here already I'm mixing like a bit of a bar chord with a bit of an open chord. And the other lesson in this is that bar chords are more advanced than open chords, there's no questioning it, but it doesn't always mean they're better to do. If I was playing this song in a pub, at a pub gig, I'd probably use open chords, use a bit of power chords, very small amount of bar chords. So if you're learning this, I wouldn't go all bar chords basically. Okay, my voice is getting deeper, my God. Okay, should have picked a Johnny Cash song. I'm gonna take a drink of water here in a sec. Okay, so the next thing then, and by the way, one more reason it's really good to have all the types of chords in your whatever, your toolkit, your arsenal, whatever you want to call it, is because if you show up to a sing-along and you're armed with, let's say, Born in the USA, and you want another player to join in, well, if there's a ton of players all playing Barre chords, it'll sound weird. So it's really good to be able to say to another player, if you put a capo on the second fret, play A and D when I play this one and this one. That way the sound gets more spread out. And that way too, if a player did join in and they started making mistakes, if you suddenly have 3 types of chords you can communicate with and understand, think about that. Like you can totally diagnose playing stuff at sessions and just say, it's actually an open D there as I'm playing this one. Just a handy thing to keep in mind. Now, that's all our levels of chords, our strum patterns, and of course there's a whole ton of strum patterns that can work with this. Now, I want to get back to our drums. Okay, so just give me 1 second, I'm going to pull up the drums. Now, this is a drum beat. You see here like 80 BPM, simple straight beat drum track. If you just enter like the BPM you're after and drum beat, drum track, you don't even have to put in rock. This guy's channel will more than likely come up. Lumbeat, whoever this person is an absolute legend. I've used their drum tracks in a ton of lessons here in Ireland. So you get the idea. So there's your 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. I could go like this. So then change to D. And back to A. Right, so you get the idea, okay? And the advantage too using the drums here, the numbers are flashed on screen, which is nice to play along with. So that'll be your drum track, which I'll include with this, and that's 80 BPM. If that's too fast for you, basically all you gotta do is go at a slower pace. Like these drum tracks come in 60, 65, 70, 75. There's increments of 5s the whole way through. So that can help. So that's the drum track, and that's keeping it simple with the open chords. Now, the next thing I want to show is, we said earlier about what's the word? About, oh brain, come on, work. Yes. About the order of the song. So I'm going to pull it up here. Okay. So that was your keyboard intro. And by the way, yeah, so there's your intro. Now let's have a quick overview of the sections. You have verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus. How many verses do you think there are? A ton. 6 verses. Now I've written this out already, so I'm actually going to go back to my board. There we go. So the first thing we've got is the intro, obviously. That's your keyboard riff. That's where you have your do, 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 do. And you'll hear it doesn't kick off so much. So for that reason, I'm going to write this here in single strums. What I mean by that is, for the intro, you'll just do 1 down here, 1 down here, 1 here, 1 here, 1. So you'll only strum a single down for each chord name you see. So if I go like this, and it's the reason we do that is it gives the keyboard riff a chance to breathe. So you'd go like this, you go 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, you get the idea now. I just let that D hang there. And that's because we'll hear that. And that's what he starts singing with. So verse 1 is the same. Verse 1 is Actually, I'll do that one more time. Okay, so what happens here with the intro is on each chord, you'll only strum on every second mention of the chord. So you'd strum down on this A, you let it ring out, you strum down on this A, let it ring out. We do not strum again here or here. Same thing for the D. So now watch what will happen. If I'm playing it here, I'm going, and we do this because the keyboard riff has a chance to breathe. Like if the rhythm is going, it just engulfs everything. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Do 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 do. Born down in a dead man's town. See what I mean? It's and that suits that verse because it's really quiet, and it also works for the chorus. So for the intro, the verse, and the chorus, you are on just that single strum that rings out. Okay, so I'll get this here. There we go. So intro, verse 1, and these are shorthand. VS is for verse, CHO is for chorus, okay, equals single strum. Okay, then it picks up, right? So we've verse 2, we've the chorus that follows that, we've verse 3, oops, I'll do that one more time. We've verse 3, and that equals your full strum. And that's you can choose all your full downs, or your down, 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 up, down. Then, pull on the song here a sec. And after those full strums, there's an instrumental that follows. You're still doing, in-strum is short for instrumental. You're still doing the full strum. Now, what happens next is there's a verse 4 and a verse 5, and they are quieter. Cute quieter. Cute quieting. Oh yeah. Perfect. So the next thing we're doing is we got verse 4 and verse 5. They're full on again, okay? So you see here for a lot of it, you're on the full strum. Now, but then verse 6 is quieter. And it's played a lot quieter. And that's the same as your intro. That is your single strums. Okay. And then we get 2 choruses and we're done. So, and then we get 2 choruses and we're done. The choruses will be the full strum again. So check that. Okay, so then we get the, do this again. Okay, cool. So then we get a chorus. Now, it's a double chorus. And when there's a double chorus in songs, what happens is as follows. The first round of the chorus it's quiet. That's your single strums. The second, it's the full strum. So let me demonstrate that. So if it's that chorus, the first chorus is like, born in the USA, I was born. Right, so it's that vibe. But then it goes, born in the USA, I was, and just adds variation. Now, before we wrap this up, this has been a doozy of a lesson. This is the longest lesson I think I've ever given on camera. But it's because, well, it feels more chilled out. I hope it's felt more chilled out to you as well. Then we have our outro, and we're done. The outro is basically, you do it 4 times, and that's so then we get our outro, and the outro is done 4 times, and that's your A to D. Okay, so that's your A, you're doing your A's and your D's back and over. And finally, you'll finish it like this. So if you're on, now, what we're going to do is, that's how you finish it on your own. For the purpose of working on it all together, you'd finish your D and just do a quick down strum on the A. Do you know, like the song itself, the actual song goes on for ages more, but it's just like the keyboards and everything on the go. So we're not going to do that. Unless I was in a Bruce Springsteen tribute band, I wouldn't follow it to the letter, especially with outros. Like, especially with people's attention spans nowadays. So it's okay that we're doing it this way. Now, that is the whole song. So let's have a quick look. So the verses are labeled here between Ultimate Guitar and between our board notes here. You have everything you need. So I'll just put this down. Okay. So a quick recap. So there's your keyboard riff, your intro chords, verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus. You see, so the big thing for you to map is looking at the sheet. Well, first of all, getting the playing, of course, and getting it steady and playing with the drum beat. Your absolute priority would be to learn the chords, basic strum, drum beat. That'll be your key to making it sound like the song. If you're into singing, that's great too. I wouldn't touch this for a second unless it's steady. That's the thing to watch. Of course, sing and play it, have fun with it as well, but just prioritize the steadiness. Now, so that's your, and then you know how to ramp up the speed. We've worked on the chords. We know how we can make them more complex if we want with power chords and bar chords. You have options for your rhythm. And then when you get the chords, of course, once, twice, 4 times, 8 times. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. Remember too, if you're thinking, oh my God, this is such work to get it steady 8 times. Well, you're on single strums for the verse 1 and the chorus and the intro. And then you got to hold your strum together for verse 2, the chorus, and verse 3, the instrumental, verse 4, verse 5. So this is probably the hairiest section to keep things together. And then you have verse 6, which is quiet, and that's the same as your intro. And that's your like single strums. Chorus then, first one is quiet, that one's the full strum. Now, in case you're playing along with it and you're going, God, when do I get quiet? There's things that we use called cues. What I mean by a cue is, I mean that when you're on verse 4, verse 5, the full strum is there. Verse 6 is where it gets quiet. Now let's take a quick look here. There we go. Verse 6 is down in the shadow of the penitentiary. So my guitar senses would be, spidey senses, whatever you want to call them, would be wide awake on verse 5. When I hear, had a woman in Saigon. Once I hear that, I'm wide awake going, oh wow, we're about to get quiet here. So to have those cues in your songs will really help. Then that's everything we need. The rhythm and playing with the drums, and yeah, oh yeah, and then the next thing is, of course, playing along with it. The drum track is the best thing, but there is other resources I'd recommend you use, and I haven't created these because other people have done great work and they're here on YouTube for everybody to use, so I'm going to point you towards them now. So if I get this here, okay, I'm going to share my screen one more time. There we go. And big shout out to G Slay Studios. He put up this version. I'm not going to hit playing it right now because it's the actual song, and I don't set off copyright. But you see your chords are there, and of course it's missing all the technique pointers and stuff like that, but its purpose is to play along. So you could put the song playing and play along with it. If it's going too fast, go on a desktop, hit the cog wheel, and change the playback speed. You can change it to 0.75 and that'll help. All right, that is the whole lesson, right? So that's been a doozy. If you watched the whole lot, well done. But you see, these nuances about it help hugely, because it's one thing to go out a song and go, oh, it's A and D, I'll just strum this, I'm playing the song. But to become a well-rounded guitar player with, killer chops and knowledge that translates to other songs and other settings, what you've heard here, there's multiple bits of musicianship that will help you no matter what stage you're at on guitar. So have fun. It's time to get down to work. You know your steps, right? So I've run through what sections to go through. Most of all, have fun. And if there is a single thing you're stuck on, please ask. Please ask me. I'm only happy to help. Because this is exactly like having a lesson. I've shared things with you, and if it was a lesson in person, you'd be trying it in front of me, and I'd be like, oh, watch this, watch that. I don't know about the watch this and watch that until I see what you're doing. So yeah, so basically keep me in the loop, keep me updated. I'm here to help. I'm super proud of you all putting in the work. And for anybody who's watching this that isn't in our community, come join us. Oh my God, it's only starting to grow. It's only starting to build. We're learning new skills, and all the skills we've spoken about here in this lesson. There's multiple courses, there's multiple master classes and things like that to keep you up to date. So if you want to come join us, you'll find a link below as well. But those of you in our community, in our membership, get down to it, and I'll chat with you in the group. Catch you soon.